long as I have my... What is this thing called? A Knight's Cross?
Order of the British Empire.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
If you don't know what it's
Empire.
called, you don't get to be a knight.
I don't... Oh, that's just lies.
Hey, everybody, it's Pod Therapy. I'm still pulling up the script.
Fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. It's Pod Therapy. Real people, real questions, real therapists.
Real psychiatrist. From Pod Therapy, send in your...
How do I know your intro better than you do?
And now, broadcasting from the churn. That guy's Dr. Jim. That's Whitney. I'm Nick. It's time for some
Myra.
Pod Therapy.
Oh, people pay money for this.
I was caught off guard.
Oh, I
I'm sorry.
love it.
I never get a warning.
You're eating
It's
the
a 30-second intro. The music goes forever.
Also, you always start it from Fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. This is Pod Therapy.
There's the voice.
There it is.
I don't memorize that. I read that every time.
Nick's
6 years
transatlantic
later.
voice.
From Fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. This is Nick Tangeman, and this is Pod Therapy.
Real people.
From 1945.
We must stop the Huns.
The Huns? When do you think the Huns were around,
Huns,
Jim?
I
The
was
World
like-
War II thing, they called the Germans the Huns.
You've been going through so
Yeah.
much history,
Yeah,
and
it's
you get
deep.
it so wrong.
You'd know that if you had an Emperor's Cross, but you don't.
Neither do you.
This one's a dead man's.
Oh, yeah, try some of those.
I don't know what it's called. So we have a special guest in the studio. We have Therapartner Myra.
Hello.
Myra's from Scotland, but not really
Myra.
from Scotland.
Correct.
You're really from South Dakota.
Yay! One
Nice.
for
South
Jim.
of what state?
The other Dakota.
Which
West
is called?
Dakota.
No, hold on. Are you sure?
No.
Are you sure it's South?
Are you sure?
Wait. What's
No,
the other
I'm
state
really
called?
not.
What's the other state called first?
Michigan.
No, what's the other Dakota called? You just said the other Dakota, so what's that called?
That's spicy.
You're the South one.
I'm from South.
Uh-huh.
Fuck.
So what's the other one called?
You got this, Jim.
There's
I
only
believe
two,
in you.
though, right?
I believe in you.
Correct.
Go with your gut.
There are only two Dakotas, so what's the
I
other?
feel like if it's South, it's going to be North.
Okay, it is North.
Yeah.
Now, do North and South Dakota share a
All
border?
right, probably not. So, I don't know, Michigan?
I would have won this bet 10 times out of 5.
It's like the Carolinas.
I wouldn't have even taken the bet. You're right.
I would have won this bet every time.
Are they
Because
next to
we
each
talked
other?
about this. We talked about this at dinner.
If you had said,
Yeah.
let's bet on it, I would have taken
Yes.
this bet every time because I knew all I had to do was say, are you sure that those two things border each other?
So they don't.
No, they do.
They do.
They definitely do.
I came to your defense.
North
I'm like,
and
of
South
course he's
Dakota
going
are
to know
basically
that.
Well,
one state.
Of course he's going to
You
know
know
that.
what? Thinking about it, I should have assumed like all the borders, right? Like
Like
one
the fact
side
that
is
North
going
and
to
South
touch it.
Dakota have 4 senators between the two of them is terrible.
That is a terrible.
Because there's like
thing.
8 people between those two states.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I believe there are less people in North and
well
South Dakota than
represented.
there are in Las Vegas.
What's the
Probably
population of Las Vegas?
Like 2 million,
3 million,
in the, in the
2
valley.
million.
Yeah, 2,
Maybe
3
around
million.
that? Yeah.
It's pretty fucking
The
close.
Dakotas and the studio are roughly similar,
Right.
in population. So, Myra, you have been a longtime supporter of the show, longtime friend of the show. Thank you for all of your
you.
support.
Thank you.
And for
of
all
your
the
support.
gifts.
Yeah.
You brought us fabulous gifts. I have
Yeah.
been bathed in royalty.
We are swimming in gifts.
It is an embarrassment of riches, except for those fucking prawn snacks.
I'm not embarrassed.
Which apparently Whitney polished the bag. Are
Yeah.
you licking the inside of the bag? Have
There's
some
got
dignity.
two more
There's
bags.
more for you
No, I don't
and
want
the
any of
next.
those. Burn them. They're
Oh my God.
terrible. So we tried European snacks.
Yeah, and I just tried some Hawaiian snacks
Oh,
from
yeah.
Little Bear.
How did the Little Bear Hawaii?
I had one and I'm done.
Yeah.
You're good. Was
I'm
it
good.
the black one that has licorice in it?
No, is the, what the hell is that? Ume?
The
dry,
ume.
creamy ume?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
That was like,
the
I can't
peach
even tell
plum
you
sugar.
why.
Is it spicy?
It's not
something.
spicy. It's just,
You
it's
just,
a lot.
Just
Okay.
try it.
It's a lot.
I can't even
Yeah, I do
describe
need to
it.
try
It's
that.
overwhelming.
I mean,
Well,
Yeah.
maybe I don't
Little
want to
Bear
try
sent me a powder to
No,
use
no.
on margaritas
Jacob
and whatnot.
and
it is,
Jim need
it
to
looks
try that. Did you try-
It looks delicious. It is plum extract,
It's
sugar,
like
and
so
salt.
different.
That actually does sound good.
Are
on
the first
margarita
3
bread.
things. Like
Jacob.
have that on the rim of a
That
deal.
does sound really
yeah,
good.
that would probably be good.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
I liked the
That's
onion
nice.
pickle chip. That was good. The roast beef chip was awful. No,
You liked the aftertaste.
this
All right.
is okay. This
Try
is the
this
black.
one.
Did you already try it?
Yeah.
I feel like you didn't.
I did.
You
It's not
She
great.
did. I watched it.
I feel like this is one of those
He
things where
saw my
everybody's
face
smelling
and
the
said-
fart. Okay.
You just still have to try it.
Oh fuck this.
I didn't know if y'all remember me saw the show.
Oh fuck this. Oh fuck. Oh god.
Little
oh,
bear.
Shit.
Sorry.
Oh
Jim
god.
said,
It's
"Fuck
like somebody
this."
buried a raisin for 7 years.
I don't even know how to describe it.
Oh
like,
fuck.
It's something.
Oh,
it's
this is terrible. Oh, god damn.
Those are mine.
Oh,
Drink your iron blood.
Jim's a fan.
Jim's about to vomit.
Jim's in.
give me the hot sauce. Fuck
Wait,
this.
It's
Give me
right
some
there.
more.
There it is.
No,
Right
I'm absolutely kidding. That thing is
She just said give him the hot
radioactive.
sauce.
okay, little bear. You are 0 for 3. I didn't try the other ones.
No, I'm excited about I haven't tried this powder because
The
I've
powder
made a
does
look
margarita.
good.
But I'm
did you
excited
try
about this.
the cuttlefish?
Oh, I tried it all I wanted to, yes.
I
there's
liked
a
the
cuttlefish
ume. That
one.
was really good.
Oh,
I actually
Myra
quite liked it.
It's like, I can't.
But I
no.
love
No.
licorice.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask if you
Like,
love
I
it.
will happily eat black licorice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn.
I know.
Okay.
I
Unique.
can
Thanks,
taste
Mom.
that in my ears.
Mom.
Ugh. I don't like any of this.
Ooh.
I'm upset.
It's like at the back of your tongue.
No, it's
something.
bad. It's deep in there. Do you
Speaking of deep in there,
do you eat haggis, by the way?
I do. It's
You do.
delicious.
It's everywhere. And
Oh.
Scotland.
I quite enjoy it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I've
It's just
heard it's
sausage.
the spawn of Satan.
It is.
It's
It's a
sausage.
thick. It's a coarse ground sausage.
Okay.
Like what scares people is that it's traditionally cooked in a sheep's stomach, but not all of them are. You can get vegetarian versions.
Do they have
Ooh.
McHaggis at McDonald's?
No, but they have a haggis burger at the Hard Rock Cafe in
Oh,
Edinburgh.
really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'd eat that every day.
It is damn
A
tasty.
haggis burger, I'd eat a fucking haggis burger.
'Cause it's the typical beef burger with a slab of haggis on top,
Perfect.
and it is
That's all I
so
want.
good.
Yeah, that sounds great.
That sounds terrible. I'll be honest with you.
If you don't think about what's in it, it is good.
You know what? Leaving America, fuck that. I really feel like everything is here that needs to be here.
Where
How
are we
many Taco
sending
Bells
Jim
do you
with his
have?
spirit points? Did we
Is
decide?
Mexican food in
we still
Scotland, is
haven't.
that a thing?
Mexican.
no,
Not-
we had to have
Yeah.
Mexican Friday because that's so after working out, we were gonna have lunch, and so she's like, "Oh, Mexican, please."
You should have gone to
Mexican."
Planet Fitness. They have tacos there.
What?
They do.
There's a drive-up bar. It's-
I needed good Mexican food because we've got Taco Bell,
Okay.
which amazingly Taco Bell in Scotland does not have the same after effects that it does in the US.
Really? Because of laws.
Probably.
It's because you're not worried about safety.
Yeah.
In America, you have all those after effects because it's just weeding
Gotta
out people
get
who
it out.
can't handle it.
That's right. You gotta
If
get
you
it out
can't
of here.
handle the bell, you don't deserve
You're
the bell.
That's
responsible
right.
for your
This is the gauntlet.
food.
Yeah.
Basically, Demolition Man got it right. That the Taco Bell wars.
Demolition.
Yeah, that's a whole thing.
But yeah,
So
no.
that thing that we ate is fucking terrible. And I'm
And that's the last thing in
Which
your
one?
mouth
We've
now.
had so
every
many things.
breath I take, I retaste it, and I'm
We have some more
strongly
pickled
There's
considering
onion
more
if
not.
you
pickled
want.
onion ones for you
I
or
don't
prawns.
think there's anything. I need a power washer. Oh, that was awful, little bear. Why'd you do that? I don't even think those were authentic Hawaiian things. They all say made in Taiwan.
Hey, Taiwan's not much further. Just
Then
keep going.
Hawaii. Oh, that's awful. I don't want to
my
try the
gosh.
cuttlefish now because I'm super scared.
I'm gonna send these my brother-in-law, so it's my husband's sister's husband, is from Taiwan. So I'm gonna send pictures of this and be like,
Is this real?
"Do you eat this?
He's gonna be like, yeah, that's a war crime.
Have you
Well,
eaten
only
this
the
here?"
one is a product
Just only
of
the
Taiwan.
one.
The other two are China.
Yep. Just the
I
ume.
do not care
The
for
creamy ume.
it. Ume.
Creamy.
Very
That's
creamy.
how I like my ume. I don't
Yeah.
prefer sriracha ume. I like creamy ume. Fuck, that's disgusting. So if you'd like to hear about the fun shenanigans in the pre-show, patreon.com/therapy. We get to know Myra. She has gifts.
Yes.
I got knighted, I think. I'm a sir now.
Definitely not how that works.
Do you
I also
not
got
care about the
crowned.
crown?
No, I'm into both, but I like
Like
the
the
thing I
show?
got from the dead guy.
It's
Still
a
smells
replica.
like glory. Okay, wink. Whatever you got to say to get past the feds. Fuck you, England. All right, so we've got some great questions today, or we don't, just questions. But there's food, and we're going to be eating that too. Here we go. First question: how often should I see a therapist? From Tess. Hello, friends. You know me. I pay you to acknowledge me.
Hello,
Tess.
Tess.
Hey, Tess.
You do.
Hi,
Hi.
Tess. I miss you.
Tess is a therapist producer. Come to Vegas, Tess. Bring us your Canadian food.
Come
I want
on.
to try that poutine stuff.
Yeah.
If Tess brought poutine, I think we'd all die because I think it's
No,
not.
just mail it. It's
You
fine.
could just mail that.
yeah, just mail poutine.
gotta be a
Snail
thing.
mail.
Yeah, no,
ground.
just a regular envelope.
Disassemble and
The flat rate.
USPS is
flat
the
rate.
flat rate box. Yeah, and if it fits the chips, you could get so much poutine in there. We just cut that box open.
It's like
Just do
dripping
it.
with grease when
Yeah,
it
just-
comes here.
Shove the spoons in there. We'll be fine.
Yeah, throw in a fork or whatever. Well, yeah,
God,
be good.
That fucking ume is still in my mouth, man. Oh, you lick your teeth.
Do you want another one? Another ume?
No, I don't want no more. Oh, she threw me the alien bites. I'll eat those in a second. I have to read a letter. I pay you to acknowledge me. We did. Just kidding. I'm happy to support the show and everything you guys do. I swear, Dad Vice is in my shopping cart, Jim. I just haven't hit checkout. Tess, what the fuck? It's been years.
She's not a dad.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
She's not dead. She can't read it.
You need fuck.
Do we
Everything
even
is
have it
upsetting
on
me about
UK,
this.
yeah.
Tess, go get the goddamn book.
Don't do
It's
it.
becoming more and more clear.
Tess, if you buy that book, I'll be disappointed in you.
It's becoming, I don't think they ship it to Canada. It's becoming more and more clear to me that I need to get in front of a therapist or counselor, and I've put it off for quite some time due to finances. Up here in the Great White North, we can get a very small amount of visits, approximately 1 to 3, covered without any referral by attending a local mental health services office. Most of what they do is assess whether you are an immediate. Oh God, this thing is still.
What are you doing over
Dude,
there?
the flavor is fighting. I feel like my body is trying to reject it.
Do you need a roast beef chip?
You did better. Honestly,
Just mouth deep in this bag. Just
You need a
tied
roast
around her
beef-
ears.
I need a roast beef chip.
You did better with the hot sauce.
Yeah, dude. This
I'll bet
thing
the
is
hot sauce would
terrible.
fix this right away.
No, I didn't do. No, thinking back, I still
Poor
have chills of
Tess.
the hot sauce, man.
No.
Never.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just drip some into his drink.
It's here if you need
do
it.
at the
all right?
bar.
It's
Ooh,
right
ice
here if
cream
you need
hot
it.
sauce.
Hot sauce. Yeah, I have to do a referral to a local mental health services office. Most of what they do is assess whether you're in immediate risk of suicidal tendencies or just need help. They will often suggest support groups, etc. I know I need one-on-one care most of the time. That is not covered by our so-called universal health care. If I had a general practitioner refer me to a therapist, I think I could have approximately 6 to 8 sessions covered free of charge, but would then have to pay afterwards. I'm working on that, but it's tough to find a doctor too. That leaves me with finding someone on my own. My finances have pulled me a little thin, so I'm limited as to what I can afford. I know I need to prioritize my mental health care, but also don't want more stress because paying for a therapist is causing something else not to get paid. That said, do you have a general recommendation as to how often you should be seeing someone? I understand if someone is in immediate crisis that it would be a fairly often visit. I wouldn't say I'm in an immediate crisis, but I do need someone to help me sort out the mess of thoughts, frustration, depression, anxiety, etc. in my head so they don't periodically overwhelm my day-to-day life. So every 2 weeks? Is once a month too little? I don't know. Send a girl a little guidance, please. Thanks, guys, including Whitney. This is a non-gendered guys. Love ya all, and I'll see you on the Discord. Tess.
3 times a day. Moving on.
3 times a therapist. Hey,
Right after every meal.
pop quiz for the therapists in the room. How many do you believe is the modal? Remember back mean, median, and mode? So mean is average. Median is just the
Middle.
number in the middle of the set. Modal is the most common
common
number.
occurring.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think is the, thank you, most common number of sessions on average globally? So take away the word average because I'm confusing you. What is the modal number of sessions globally? What is the most
Per
common
person?
number of sessions
One.
that exists in therapy?
You mean like per person?
Well,
Or-
yeah, because they go to therapy. So what do you
Well, I
think?
didn't know
the
if you meant
common
like
number is?
everyone altogether.
Jacob's
gonna say
holding up a
1.
big number 1. So
I'm going to
is
say
Nick.
1 too, because I'm willing to bet that most people will do therapy one time and not go back.
Yes, the
Might be too
modal
many.
number is 1
Okay.
Boom!
by far.
That's how many
It's
times
far
Jacob's
and
gone.
away. It's all you need. 1 and done. The second most common number, 2, and then 3, and then 4, and so on.
Wait, nobody's surprised by that
and an
math.
arch.
Yeah, that turns
Well,
out.
it's interesting because I think a lot of people in grad school would think, oh, the average person probably goes about 6 times. It's probably the most common thing. 1. But what's interesting is that same study that revealed that, there's been follow-up studies on that, and it's asked, okay, of the people that went once, how effective was that? 80% of those who went once said that was effective for them.
All right.
And they stopped going because they felt satisfied with what they had accomplished and they were
Fixed.
fine. Yeah, and so it's
One and done.
It really raises an interesting question. I mean, lots of interesting questions, but I think something that does speak to Tess's question here of like a lot of people approach therapy believing it's one of those things that like if you can't commit to it for a year or something, you shouldn't try. If you can't commit to it for 52 weeks in a row, why do it at all? And I think that study and also the efficacy results and also what we're going to share anecdotally probably encourages people to realize actually you don't necessarily have to come at it that hard. Like you often can come at it in sort of an open-minded way that kind of, you play as you go and find out how that treats you.
Yeah, I mean, I think for most people, they would, as far as the therapy goes, just kind of go take it one step at a time. As far as like you come in, you do your assessment, and then we'll determine based off of what your needs are, what our schedule will look like.
Right.
And sometimes that's going to be once every couple weeks.
Right.
Just kind of depends on what your needs are. But I think, yeah, it doesn't really surprise me what you've said. I do think that there's a lot of benefit. People will get benefit out of going to one session, maybe two sessions.
I wonder if that number will go up as the trend of online therapy and kind of like from your home therapy continues to proliferate.
Yeah, that's the thing that I think is really interesting about this. So in Tessa's situation, which Myra, in a second, I'm going to ask you about what it's like in Scotland, because this is obviously not America we're talking about. But in Tessa's situation, it's pretty hard to get to a therapist. You have these kind of buffers that exist, which I've seen in universal healthcare countries. That's one of the ways they can slow down the queue is sort of create these buffer check-in systems. And I'm not comparing notes with America. America's absolutely awful. But this is interesting where Tessa's saying, I can't just go directly to a therapist with, my credits or whatever and just go see them. I have to stop at this assessment thing. That can lead to 3 to 4 sessions or referral to group. Or my doctor can send me to a therapist. That will get me about 6 to 8 sessions, and then we're out. So she's coming out of pocket. And actually, I mean, I'm a big advocate for this because, and again, I've had listeners who've been pretty upset at me for even talking about coming out of pocket for therapy because they feel like it's disrespectful to those who can't. And that's not how I mean to say it. I'm just talking about it's an indictment on the system that's like oftentimes the most effective way to go. And even in Canada, I think in Tessa's situation, that's what's nice is because in America, insurances won't let you just make appointments whenever you damn well feel like it. Like you can't start with somebody in January 1st, get authorization most of the time, and then in July they come in for their second appointment and you still have authorization. Usually you're going to get an authorization block, right?
Not my experience.
In Alma, you don't do that?
I mean, I don't know about a 6-month window. I guess I haven't tested that, but
Maybe pretty wild.
Sorry, 1 second.
It's the prawn chips.
It's definitely the prawn chips. It's the dried creamy ume. No, so for listeners out there, ume, I do.
Tresemme, ooh la la.
I do primarily take insurance through my private practice at the moment. I have a few private pay or cash pay clients, but right now, insurance is what I use. I do use Hello Alma as my billing system. They're the ones who coordinated and got me approved through those insurance companies. The benefit of that is that they pay me out regardless if insurance has paid them out. So I'm relying on them to check with insurance.
Right.
And it takes that burden off of me.
Right.
But I like that because I like meeting with people who pay $20 for a copay or it makes it more affordable.
Yeah.
And so far, and I've met with people for a 6-month window or more, and I haven't had any pushback yet on
That's
insurance.
New.
I don't know.
The old way, there wasn't this median of Hello Alma. The old way was every therapist had to call Cigna themselves, ask for authorization, haggle, and hopefully get some kind of authorization for some amount of sessions.
Yeah. And, one Blue Cross Blue Shield, we do outside of Alma. They don't approve that. That's something that one of my cohorts at the private practice I work at, they set that up initially and were told what the payout would be for that. And we do have to go into Availity or through Simple Practice to bill for that separately. It's a little more work. It's not that much.
Those are therapy note-taking systems.
Yeah. So with those, it is a little more work, but I still haven't had too much pushback there. And they have a set amount.
That's great.
Which is comparable. So
yeah.
I mean, it's not like shit pay.
And that's a new age.
Some
That's
do.
great to hear.
We've purposely not worked with some insurance because they pay out like $50 a session,
Sure.
and I'm like,
and they do it on purpose.
no.
They do it so that you won't take them, and then they can go, yeah, it's so weird. The therapist is just really busy. It's like, no, you guys have intentionally ruined it for your
they have.
members.
So yeah, I haven't had that pushback now, which working for an insurance company before going into private practice, I know.
Dark side.
There is like that authorization window, but to be honest, I learned a lot about how much time is given whenever an authorization request comes in from an agency or whatnot. And so, yeah, there's usually at least like a 6-month window given to start.
Things have gotten a lot better because I remember back in the day, outpatient therapists would almost always have to recommend weekly therapy. And it was so hard to get the authorization that was really important to be like, okay, I have to pre-screen patients. I have to make sure that they're serious. That like there was a lot of effort that went into that first session. And there had to be like this mutual agreement of like, you're not wasting my time, right? Like you're for real going to commit to this because I have to get on the phone and beg. And like I have to chase down authorization. It was crazy. And you only had like 8 sessions.
You have to physically call the insurance company.
Well, yeah, they used to be really terrible to work with because you'd need to use those 8 or whatever so you could get authorization for more. But if you slowed that down and you went through it, sometimes the authorizer would use that against you and be like, oh, they don't seem to be in crisis. They seem to only come every once in a while. So must be pretty good then, huh?
Yeah.
Can you substantiate a diagnosis of moderate depression when they're coming in once every 3 weeks? And it's like, well, that's what works for them. It's a good routine for them. It doesn't matter.
You have to justify.
You have to justify. So,
I found that more with Medicaid.
Okay. So
I don't know. That's a little more government funding than just insurance funding.
But it hasn't been that way recently.
No, I haven't had that experience yet.
Okay.
I've been surprised by it, how
That's
consistent
really
I
cool.
can, I'm able to bill. And to be honest, most of my clients that I work with, so like kind of going into Tessa's question of like,
how often?
Yeah, how often, basically. I mean, I would say like a 6 to 9 month window is like a great starting point. I mean, but it varies. It depends on, I tell all my clients is how much do you want to work on this outside of our sessions? That makes a huge difference. When I have clients that come in and they're already like, you know what, I looked up this stuff online and I've been journaling and I've been doing all these things, they will move through much quicker. And our sessions contain a lot more valuable like progress in those sessions.
If I'm doing all the work at home, what am I paying you for?
Right.
I give them
grade
the homework.
Your papers.
Versus
I do agree with that though, because I've noticed that.
But you're paying for less sessions than like if you have me do all the work, you're going to pay me longer. Like,
Yeah, no, that's.
I'd still rather you do the work.
Fair. Come, Jacob, I have an opening.
I have several.
A lot of the work in therapy is done between sessions, not in sessions.
Yeah. We're here to guide and like ask questions. And when you talk about, I think Nick mentioned this, when Tess, you ask about how often should I go? I have these financial limitations. That's one of the most common questions I'm asked in consultation calls is, like people who just don't know, they're like, I've never been to therapy. They're like, how often do we meet? And I'm like, oh, like I just kind of assume people know it's weekly. I don't know why I assume that, but
do you default to weekly?
I do.
Okay.
Initially, I said it depends on what you're wanting to work on. Typically, I meet with people weekly, but based on your finances, based on your time, your schedule, your family, whatever, we can adjust.
You've probably had clients who've told you like, hey, I financially I can't afford every week.
Yeah, I have a great example right now. I just wrapped up sessions with a client just last week who, when she started, came to me like in tears. She was in between jobs. She was kind of separating from her husband, never been to therapy, a lot going on. And she's like, I have an HSA, which is a health savings account for those of you out there. She goes, I have about $1,000 in it. I can use that until I find a job since I moved back to Northern Nevada, until I get established there. What do you think? And I said, well, depending on what you want to work on, I mean, solution-focused therapy is a modality I'm trained in really well. I said, that can be like 9 sessions, if you do it very strictly. And so she, I mentioned that to her, and we got probably in, 6 sessions in. And she was I did a reduced rate. So that was the next thing I was going to mention to test. Like some places might work with you. So I told her my normal rate for cash pay since she was going out of her HSA, her health savings account.
Which functions as cash.
Correct. And so I told her my normal.
It's usually like reimbursement type thing, right?
It's like a credit card or a debit card.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's already money in there.
You get a tax break for it. So if
Okay.
you put money into your
Tax-free
HSA,
money.
you get a deduction on your taxes, but that money can only be spent on healthcare.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Regular people live such interesting lives.
so I charged her
Who don't work in entertainment.
Right?
Yeah, right. It's probably like half my normal rate. I was like, because I knew she was stressed and I just felt for her. And I had an opening. So I usually reserve at least two slots for either sliding scale or very, very reduced rate.
Okay.
And so she met with me this week. She was like, you know what? I'm doing a lot better. I have divorce papers lined up. I'm like, you go, girl.
All right.
She's like, I got a job I start next week. And she's like, I'm so surprised. You told me 9 sessions when we started it. And I did not think that was going to be the case. I really was like, how? Because I'm so distraught. And I like laid it on thick. I'm like, you got to be doing all these things in between sessions. Like, let's try this, like boundary setting, all these things. And I think she just needed to get a lot off her chest too. So those things combined, she was like, all right, I'm okay, like stepping back. And I said, well, I'm here for you. Like,
And I'm on
you said
standby.
that.
Yeah.
I'm here if you need me. Give me a call. We can
Always
figure
around.
it out. Mm-hmm.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So, Myra, what's it like in Scotland?
Well, I'm kind
Cold
of
and rainy.
Very.
They've got golf.
Yeah.
not as
very
much as you'd
golfy.
think. At least not as much rain. But
Golf with a chance of haggis.
oh, excellent haggis. I'm a different case in that I've only ever accessed mental health care through work.
Okay.
Because I work for the National Health Service.
Okay.
And our occupational health system is actually very supportive because they need us around.
Sure, yeah.
So I've had my therapy sessions through occupational health, and I automatically get 8 sessions.
Oh, cool.
That can be extended to 10 sessions
That's
if
annual?
needed. No, any referral.
Oh, okay.
So
Per referral.
It's a self-referral.
Okay. Oh, wow.
And I've had the same counselor that I've worked with for 2 sessions now.
Okay.
Two sets of sessions. And the first time we did 8. Second time we actually upped it to 10 as I was going through estrangement from members of my family.
Okay.
And she's also does private practice at a fairly reasonable rate. So she's like, if we've exhausted our sessions and we need to put you back on the waiting list to get your 8 again, you can come and see me privately.
While we wait.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I think she
That's
would
cool.
potentially prioritize me in her private, but I've never tried to
Haven't
go.
had to do it yet.
Yeah, and I've never gone to any other private service.
Okay.
But I'm not certain, and I don't know how much is covered by
Yeah.
the health service
Yeah.
with regards to mental health.
It is interesting because in all the systems, and it makes perfect sense, there's not going to be an unlimited, supply of like, yeah, we'll indefinitely, see you go through care. There's always going to be this negotiation where the provider and the patient and the payer have to agree that this is necessary. There's going to be some amount of sessions that are provided. And so I think a lot of people are asking Tessa's question of like, okay, I'm going through stuff. I want to start this process. I know what my doors are to entry, but I also am aware that each door is going to have a certain amount attached. If I go through this general stop where I can self-refer, I'm only going to get 4 sessions. If I go to my doctor first, I'm going to get maybe 6 to 8. If I go on my own, I'm not limited except for my own resources. And then how frequently should I go? Yeah. So like in my practice, being completely private pay, one of the things that and this was all very intentional in the way I built it, but like that was one of the things I really wanted is I disliked the experience that I would have sometimes where a patient comes in, you get them started, and they feel that I'm an obligation. And they have to come see me. And I didn't find I did my you get it. Thanks, Jacob. I didn't feel I was doing my best work in those situations.
Jacob's obligated to be.
I think I'm a pretty good like motivational interviewer and I can get people on board with the process, but I didn't from week to week, I didn't know how I was going to meet them that week, what headspace they were in. So the way I design my practice, instead of having like 20 patients that are my regular caseload and they come in week to week to week and that's my same set of 20, I have a caseload of probably 200 that I would consider active, and they just carousel. They jump onto this thing whenever they want. So like, oh, you know what?
See that.
Something's going on right now. I have a therapist. I know Jim. Jim knows me. And so they pop in and I'll be like, hey, it's been a month. How are you? And they're like, so this is what's going on.
I have a lot of
Great.
biweekly or monthly clients.
Right. That pop in at the point of need. And then, like, that was the model I wanted to create. But there's a lot of therapists that do that. And I would argue all therapists usually would. I mean, it depends on the model, because some therapists will say, no, I have a slot.
Sure.
You have to take this space, because if you don't, I'm going to get a committed person into that role, and there's a waiting list, right?
Yeah.
So Tess, I mean, I think we're all singing the same song here, which is, it's not as much as you think it is. I think like there are some, and it also depends a lot on the model of therapy, right? Because technical psychoanalysis wants to do 50 to 70 sessions. You know, solution-focused brief therapy is trying to accomplish something in like 10 to 20 sessions. Yeah. But also that citation I read earlier about how, or didn't read, but cited, that the modal number is 1, and 80% of those people said they got something useful from that encounter. And that's kind of the model that I follow, that sort of like, you know, come at the point of need model, where I have patients that, you know, again, they can't afford to do this all the time, but they start, we have a couple of meetings, we've exchanged, they feel seen, they're known, and then we pop in as needed. But I'm always giving them exercises, assignments, workbooks. They're doing that in the background, and then they're popping in at a point of need. Yeah. So there's a lot of different ways to solve this, but I think the good news is it doesn't have to be a weekly commitment. Yeah. You can get away with even one session, and that really might do something. You never know, or it might point you in a good direction, or just give you like a new way to think about things, and you could pop back into that person as needed. Like,
you can always be open and honest with the therapist too once you get started, and just explain your financial situation. Yes. And sometimes they can accommodate.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They want to help you.
Yeah. A good website for this, and I hope it's international, is OpenPath. OpenPath is a place where therapists can go to basically add themselves as a reduced rate option, and they'll fill some of their vacant spots at a reduced rate. So, and then of course, psychologytoday.com. But Tess, thank you so much. I look forward to you reading my book and giving it 5 stars on dadvicebook.com.
I will be personally disappointed in you.
And that is not available on Amazon UK.
Oh, is it really not?
It is not.
Weird.
I can get Stephen Lockyer or Noel Penrose's versions, but not.
Okay, interesting.
Not the Dr. Jim
Do
Jobe
they
version.
have this dead guy's medal around their chests?
Yes.
Because I do, and I'm adding it to my resume.
So yes.
Sir Jim. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're talking about how to go outside. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
Today's episode is brought to you by our partners, Dirty B and Myra.
Hi, Myra.
As well
Thanks for
as
supporting the show.
our producers. But I don't have that list with me, so I apologize.
Dude, you fail at everything today.
It was a long.
You didn't even tell me Myra was going to be on the show.
Oh, you.
Nick was busy. He had to plan my workouts.
I did. I had a busy week. All right, but we do have some trivia this week.
Oh, good.
We do.
Brought to us by Myra.
Oh, cool.
Yes, we all get to
So
participate.
I've got
away.
3 sets of 3 different questions.
All right.
Each set is themed. So we're recording on Monday, the 24th of July.
We are.
Nailing it.
And so...
True. Shit, he got there first. That's a point.
Born on this day in 1802 in France, this author wrote the famous tale of the adventures of Athos, Porthos, and Aramis.
Oh, shit.
Oh, damn.
Oh, god damn it.
It's not multiple choice.
I only know
is
the
it?
bad
It
guy's
is
name.
not.
Shit.
Cardinal Richelieu.
Charles Dickens.
Final answer.
Hemingway.
L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah, that's it.
Elron.
Right after Battlefield Earth.
Yes.
Elroy.
Elroy.
Leroy Jenkins.
Leroy Jenkins.
All right, so French author wrote The Three Musketeers.
And like Man in the Iron Mask.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I
Shit.
do not know. And I've read this book.
Oh, yeah.
And by
Everybody's
book,
read
I
it.
mean I watched the Disney movie. Goofy, Donald, and...
You haven't actually read the book? You
No.
don't have to read the book in school?
Are you aware that there's a Disney movie?
You don't have to read this
They
book in
save
school?
many.
Did you have to read it in French because you were in
And
Louisiana?
Pete is the bad guy.
No. French was a required subject in elementary school, but it stopped being a required subject by the time I was old enough to have to read this book.
New Orleans is weird. All right, so
French was
I
a
think
required
none
subject
of us
grades kindergarten through 6.
Oh, so you speak French fluently.
Nope.
know. Whitney, you seem like a literary chick. You don't know who this is?
I know exactly who this is, and the name is not
We're
coming to
just
my
talking
head.
about your
it's gonna-
Scottish softcore porn, and you don't know this.
You know, they really blend together, those
They
two.
do. That is
Here
true.
I am.
I just
at a
need
loss.
multiple choice. That's all I need. I need to hear like a bit of the name.
John, Paul, George, and Ringo.
It starts with a D.
Well, shit. Now,
Chris O'Donnell.
now Jean Paul Sartre is in my head, and that's a different author entirely.
Entirely. Yeah.
Charlie Sheen.
I'm out.
It's like,
Yeah, we give up.
Kiefer Sutherland.
this is going to
Yeah,
make
Jim
me
gives
so
up.
mad when
These
she
are
says
all-
that. Fine.
Alexander Dumas.
Yeah,
Dumont!
Idiots.
I told
Or
you it
Dumas.
starts
That's what
with
I
a D.
said.
Oh, we all know it when we hear the answer.
Yeah.
I get half
I
a
want to
point.
work at Dumas and
kidding.
Dumas.
Oh my god.
Scared. Things
What
are
did you
flying across the
throw?
room. I felt it across my nose.
Oh. All right.
It just throws random things.
Number
at me.
2, born on this day in 1897 in Atchison, Kansas, this pilot was the
Jim
first
Jobin.
American aviatrix
Got
to
it.
fly solo across the Atlantic.
Amelia Earhart.
That's easy. Yes.
Correct.
Because you said dominatrix. That was pretty obvious.
Dominatrix.
Yeah, that's what gave it away.
He
Did I
hears what he
actually
wants to
say
hear.
dominatrix? Okay.
We all know Amelia Earhart would do
Yep.
whatever it took.
Point to Nick.
Oh, that's fuck that. Wait, is it first to answer?
It is now.
This trivia's bullshit, Myra.
Jean Paul
You
Sartre.
call all my trivia bullshit.
No, I liked your one. What was
The
the one
one?
where it was the bad reviews of movies and we had to guess what they were?
I
Or
was impressed.
places.
You got all of them.
I'm
That
really
was
good
insane.
at trivia.
I was like, oh my god.
Any trivia you hear
bad
that I
review.
didn't win has been heavily
Jim,
doctored.
all Jim did was listen to that and think, I would write this review.
Yeah,
So yes,
yeah.
I
Oh,
know
yeah.
exactly what
I
movie
knew
that
it
is.
was
All
too.
Battlefield Earth.
Somehow Nick's
Next
in the
one.
lead.
And last is born on this day in 1981 in Rapid City, South Dakota. This cytogeneticist is the newest theraproducer.
Cytogeneticist.
Myra.
Is it Myra?
Oh shit, that was
Nick's
easy.
acing it.
What's a cytogeneticist?
That's my job.
I know. Well, I assumed that, but like, what does it do?
So I look
What
at
is that?
genetics at the chromosome level as opposed to the DNA and single base pair.
So, like, I know what a chromosome is, but Whitney's
You
dumb.
said you're older
Yeah,
than
what
me.
would
You're
I
not
know?
older than me.
No, I'm 4 months younger than you and 4
Oh.
months older than Jacob.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I gotcha.
Weird.
Gotcha.
Right in the middle.
Yeah,
There
creepy.
you go.
It's a Nick Jacob sandwich.
So you look at the
No, it's a
things-
Myra sandwich. Nobody names a
Myra.
sandwich after the bread.
Yeah, sourdough.
Good point.
Well, a marble rye Reuben, you do.
Ah, fine.
Ooh,
That's just a
a
Reuben.
Nick Jacob Myra.
If you make a Reuben without a marble rye, then what? You haven't made a Reuben. You
No,
go
you
fuck
made
yourself.
a boring rye Reuben.
Yeah, you go
not
fuck
a marble
yourself.
rye.
People don't know about the threesome benefit of becoming a Therapartner. You
Yeah.
know, if it's in the fine print,
Now,
You get a
you
sandwich.
come to Vegas,
That's
you
the
get a
Eiffel
night at the
Tower clause.
Bellagio, take you to Pound Town.
Free parking.
we
We
call
really care about mental health.
we call it a corn on the claws.
Oh my God.
This show has gone to shit.
That's what we get for drinking before coming here, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Blame
I don't know
Jacob.
why you think it's different.
So who's winning right now? You don't get
Nicholas.
two,
The hell I don't.
though. Dude, this trivia sucks.
You
Deal with it.
suck.
These
You.
are really hard.
Let
I
your
also-
congressman.
No, I have 2 points as well.
What the fuck?
I knew Amelia Earhart. I knew Myra.
Oh, on the honor system, so did I.
Okay,
I
well,
won
I
2
got
points
3.
too. You don't get 3.
Nick still has 3 no
I
matter
have 4
what.
points.
You've destroyed this show, Myra. Is that what you came here to do? You've
Yes.
ripped us apart. All right,
4 points
fine.
for Jacob.
Last show. How to go outside from Anonymous. Hey, all. I was in therapy for 3 years and have now stopped therapy for around a year and a half after my therapist and I both decided that I was in a good place and didn't need it anymore. Because of that, I've generally got a pretty good awareness of my own mental health, and when I feel up or down, I try to pay attention. Diablo 4, the video game, came out recently, which is a video game I was super excited to play. So I decided to take a week off work so I can truly pretend like I'm a kid again. I ordered pizza and I spent most of my time on the couch playing the game. A few weeks later, I noticed how crappy my mood was. I was snapping at people. I had a super low mood, just generally all around awful. I even had some pretty mild suicidal ideation in there. Like I said, because of the history of anxiety and depression, this mood change really stood out to me. I couldn't really think of any major life changes or worrying thoughts that might be triggering this, though. Having been battling this stuff for a long time, I noticed, hey, I've been sitting on the couch a lot lately, whereas usually I would have gone out for a walk a few times. And from prior experience, I know that getting regular exercise, especially walking, seems to be beneficial for my mental health. So I made an effort to play less video games and get outside some more, and my mood got better. You guys are probably wondering what the problem is, as it sounds like I've just solved it myself, right? Well, the issue is that I really don't like the obligation to go out for a damn walk. I identify pretty strongly as a video game-loving, book-loving, Warhammer nerd kind of guy. The fact that I'm forced to go out for a walk instead of playing video games, which is what I wanted to do during my time off, really annoys me. How do I change my mindset around this? I don't necessarily hate the walks when I go outside. It's usually a pleasant experience. I just really feel trapped by the fact that not doing it for a few weeks is enough to make me feel that shitty. I know it's a sort of silly question, but it really bothers me to think I'm going to have to force myself to go outside even when I'd rather be doing something else. Any advice? Thanks. My pronouns are he and him.
mentalfitpersonaltraining.com.
Aha! That'll fix it. Boy, if you hated walking, you'll love
All right,
hating
that
Nick.
one's answered.
Yep.
Hey, he got me to work on vacation.
Oh,
so,
twice
on my
Yeah.
birthday. on
Birthday and
vacation
vacation.
in
That's
the
double.
desert. So yes, I
No.
highly recommend.
Thank you. And I really relate to this because I remember, like, the description is very nostalgic for me.
Okay.
Because I remember when Grand Theft Auto San Andreas came out.
Oh, yeah.
I had just finished graduate school,
Mm-hmm.
and I had not played video games very much during school,
Yeah.
just because you're just so busy. And I hadn't yet started a full-time job. And so that's what I did,
Yeah.
is I just played San Andreas. I ordered pizza,
Yeah.
and I just sat there. The sun came up, I'm playing.
Yeah.
The sun goes down, I'm still playing.
Yeah.
I had not moved.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
It was
pretty
so
great.
much fun.
Yeah.
I loved it. Absolutely loved it. But I also relate to the mood thing too. Because I would just get really into a lot of these games, and then I'd just get really moody and pissy.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it really changed when we got foster kids.
Mm-hmm.
Because then they kind of took over the video games.
Yeah.
And I stopped playing because they were always playing.
Yeah.
And ever since then, it's almost like kind of like a detoxification
Yeah,
that
you
happens
come
with
out of
video
it.
games.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, I really want to play. And then after a few weeks, you don't really miss it. It's just kind of
Yeah.
like, oh, yeah, and it just kind of goes away. It's like the more distance you put, then the easier it gets to kind of stay away from it. And mood does improve. So I guess my thought to this and to the writer, no one is making you not play these games.
Okay.
You're making that choice yourself. If you want to play the video games, play the video games. But then you have to understand that you're also going to take the consequences with that.
Sure.
So you're going to have to kind of make that choice. But when you're asking like, well, how do I do this, or what's a better way to reframe it? I think the best way to start reframing it is to take away that have to,
Okay.
or can't.
Right.
No, that's not true at all. You absolutely can.
Mm-hmm.
You're an adult. You can play these games if you want to, but you are making a decision. You're basically saying, you know what? I don't like the way I feel when I play these video games.
Right.
So I'm going to choose not to.
I'm going to take the walk. 'Cause
Exactly.
that's
So
the
I'm going to go
thing
the
is-
walk. And no one is
punctuating
forcing you
with
to
the
go
walk.
for a walk.
Right.
Right? I mean, you are making a really good choice there. So
Yeah.
by saying that I have to do this, or it upsets me that I can't do this, you're also depriving yourself of the praise that you deserve
Right.
for having made a good decision.
I really like your point about reframing from I have to like I get to, right? Like, oh, I get to take a walk. Yeah, I'm going to take a walk and think about where I'm at in the game and think about what I want to do next and just get some steps in. But you're right. Like, whenever you can make it your decision, that does go a long way. But like, okay, so Myra, maybe you can speak to this. When you go from I'm not doing physical activity on purpose to I'm intentionally doing this, in the beginning, it sucks.
Yeah.
And like that was something I was talking with my spouse about recently, because we're going through this phase again about like, oh, let's like try to do better and like let's be healthier. And I was just sharing like, for me,
She's
it's
just laughing at you.
yeah, she's just cackling.
Yeah.
You'll never make it, you idiot. But I was like reflecting on how, for me, I think it's healthy to start being honest. Start with the emotional honesty of, I dislike this.
Sure.
Like for Nick, you turned a corner in your life. You enjoy this. You enjoy the rigor. You look forward to it. It's a hobby. You like how it feels.
Not always.
I imagine that that's true. But I imagine I dislike it far more than you dislike it on your worst day.
It's more uncomfortable
And so,
for
like,
you.
yeah,
at
for
this
me,
point.
the exertion and that rigor, especially going from zero and trying to do anything, like the writer, it's I do not like it. And I see all the motivational posters, see all the people trying to get me pumped up. There's so many great trainers like you that are online like, hey, Jim, you'll never regret a day at the gym. You'll always feel better when you go. You can do it, buddy. And like they're walking out of their gyms, like taking selfies, like, I feel so good today. I'm so proud of myself. And anytime I do it, I'm like, hey, this fucking sucked. It was an hour of boredom and I didn't like it. And the bad PSA for working out, but I don't care for it. And it always sucks. And like the writer, I hate that I have to do it in order to continue to be alive and not hurt and experience bad things.
Now,
How
let
many
me
times
challenge
did I
you
say
on one
no
thing.
to you
Right.
in the last couple
the
days?
trick is,
Yeah.
how
Well,
do you
I don't know. I
that?
wasn't listening. But
That's why he's a good psychiatrist.
Yeah, Nick's the best psychiatrist.
no correction. No, but the one thing I will challenge you a little bit on is I would use kind of the same argument that we have when we're talking about looking at someone's Instagram, looking at someone's Facebook. You're seeing their highlight reels.
Right.
And it's that way especially for fitness influencers.
Yeah.
You're seeing their highlight reel.
Their best moments.
Their
Exactly.
pose.
Yeah.
Sometimes
And
it's discouraging as an
it
outsider.
absolutely
Because
is.
as a loser, I look at that and I'm like, well, I don't feel like that person, so obviously
and
I'm
this is
different.
this is one of the things too that I'm trying to do a better job of on the Discord, because we've got our TheraFit community on Discord.
Yeah, I muted that one.
And we talk.
You can mute
And
Discord.
a lot of
Oh, no.
a lot of the people on there will.
Is that what I've done with Discord? Have I just
Yeah,
muted
you
all
just
of it?
muted the whole thing.
Have I just muted Discord?
But it's a common thing, and Myra can speak to this too, where it's one of those things that people. Y'all do a great job of giving everybody encouragement and saying, yeah, but there's also a lot of people in there who will, use that space to say like, oh, I just couldn't do it today. I just couldn't bring myself to the
And they
gym.
have permission to
Yeah.
tell
And
the
so
truth.
what I've been trying to do a better job of is posting when that happens to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think that a lot of people think that's just how I operate.
You're just on a winning streak.
That I'm just like, fuck yeah, let's
Yeah.
go. Let's go work out.
Yeah.
And it's rarely like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I just spent this past weekend, I had a golf tournament. It was a 2-day tournament. So I spent 2 days out there. It was 115 degrees the first day. It was 112 the second.
That's it.
It
Bitch.
sucked. Okay. And I did not want to work out. Today I worked out this morning and there was no pleasure in it.
Yeah.
I did not enjoy any of it.
Yeah.
It was sluggish. It felt very slow. I had no energy. I only did half of the stuff that I was expecting to do. So it is a struggle every day.
Yeah.
But yes, you're right. You probably hate it more than I do.
Right.
But I don't want to send the message that it's like, I'm gung ho and I'm
I think
all about it.
it's so important, by the way, just in general, and I think that the writer's question speaks to this. I need to hear stuff like that because that makes me feel more encouraged. Like it's kind of like if you're like trying to be good at math or whatever, and like you're seeing these Neil deGrasse Tysons of the world, and they're just talking like how it's the easiest fucking thing in the world,
Yeah.
and you admire them, but you're like, well, I'm not them. They're clearly special.
100% transparency. My client that I met with this morning at 6 a.m.
Myra. Just kidding.
No, it was,
Oh, no.
I had a training session at 6, and then I worked out, and then I did my training session with Myra.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wow.
so in my workout, I did one of the exercises that my client in the previous workout was doing.
Yeah.
And I actually had this thought like, holy shit, this is what she was doing?
Yeah, this is hard.
Like, yeah.
I
And it
don't
was
like
like,
this.
it was like,
Yeah.
I don't like this. This sucks.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of that realization of just like, oh yeah, shit, this is work.
Well,
Right.
thanks for not giving that one to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
So-
was,
He's like, I'll
Myra-
adjust for the next
Yeah,
one.
we all
was the
relating
grab
here
the
to the
snatch.
writer, and the writer's talking about how do you go and do something that for the writer, they're not saying I do this for my fitness. They're saying I've realized my mental health declined quickly and I needed some kind of physical activity to stay mentally healthy, but still struggling, I think, as I'm relating to with I don't want to do this, but it is necessary
Yeah.
for my overall health or mental health. How have you tried to do something you don't want to do?
Well, there have been times where I've messaged Nick through the training app and said, I am in tears on the way to the gym. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be here. And he'll reply, if you get to the door and that is all you can do today, that is a win.
Wow.
If you can step through those doors and maybe do 5 minutes on the treadmill and then you get to the end of that and you can't do any more, that's a win.
Yeah.
And having that kind of support to just say, you know what, every day is going to be different. You're not always going to be able to do everything that's laid out for you, but just if you can, try.
Yeah.
And every time that I've struggled and been like, I'm just going to get to the door, those days have always seen me get through the end of the entire set of exercises. And I did stop going for a while at the beginning of the year, and I had a major mental breakdown.
Yeah.
And realized that in the 6 months that I'd been working with Nick since the last summer until the end of the year, I wasn't having any of those issues.
Yeah.
And so it's forcing me to get back into it. And yeah, it's just like
Goes a long way.
Nick throws some of the best quotes out. Like
It's
the
because he reads good
Very
books like
quotable.
Dad Vice. Like he just ripped off my reframe, I don't have to, I get to. That is in my fucking book. And I know you know.
You're right. You're the first person that's
Yeah.
ever said that.
This guy!
Yeah.
TM.
But
Man, that book is terrible.
Read it and say that. Read it.
I assume that book is terrible.
Shit. Yeah, I guess I can't stop him from saying that, though.
I was going to shift, but Nick, did you have something you wanted to
no,
piggyback on?
no, that's just it. I mean, it's really, I guess the other thing here too is when we're talking about activity, this doesn't necessarily mean going to the gym.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily mean it has to be going for a walk. You know, it could be going for a bike ride. It
Right.
could be going for a hike. It could be, you know, if you've anything that's active, you know, find something that you tolerate.
Right.
And go do that.
Well,
it doesn't have to be punishment.
I like what Myra said, which she falsely credits to you, about this
Fair.
whole like, look, don't think about the whole thing.
Yeah.
Just get to the first step. And if you bail after that, cool. And the same thing with a walk, because I think a lot of times for me that can be so daunting, right? Like, and it kind of combines the first question, the second question. Like, how many times I've thought to myself, okay, Jim, it's time to do something. You need some cardio in your life. You got to do better, buddy. Like, you're stagnant all day long. Your back hurts. Do better, right? You're too young to feel this way. And I'll be like, okay, but if I can't do it perfectly or I can't do it consistently all the time, the way Nick does it, then I shouldn't even try. Because I'm just going to step in and fail and then feel like a piece of shit. And it's like, but I like that mentality you're talking about, Myra, which is like, no, it's really a win if you're starting with something. If you get to the door, great. If you get up to take a walk and you get to the mailbox and you check your mail and you're like, you know what, I'm going to keep going. Cool. If you say, no, I'm not. I got to the mailbox today. Cool. Come on back. And then maybe do that again in an hour or whatever. But like baby steps, incremental progress, I think is huge in how
This is why you need to unmute the Therapit buddies.
Yeah.
Because these are the little things that Nick drops.
Hold on.
Like when we're all...
I refuse to be a part of a thread that's not about me.
But
that
he's
one's
getting his
not.
quotes
I'm sure
from
you
Dad
could make it
Vice.
I've
about
also
you.
muted the geography thread. Fuck that one.
That
Done
one's
with it.
changed to Wordle now.
I was
so-
going to say there's a
it's
geography
gone.
thread?
Yeah.
Okay.
There was, and it only existed to troll me.
Perfect.
There's many
did.
things in this show that only exist. Most of the merch store only exists to troll me.
So
At first, I didn't understand the book at all. Then I realized I was holding the book upside down. You have to angle the book
This is
properly
Jacob's
to your
review.
face for all the knowledge to come out. Once the knowledge starts flowing, it's like ketchup out of a bottle. Slow at first, but if you hit it a few times, it'll come out. It'll come at you fast and thick until it spills over your baked potato. In this simile, the potato is your brain. Anyway, what were we talking about? FYITF. That's one of the book reviews for Dad Vice on Amazon currently.
Dadvicebook.com.
not UK, though. Not
From
UK.
Random Logic.
Love it.
Perfect.
Verified purchaser.
Oh, yeah. That's a real one.
It also apparently makes a really good
That was
Paperweight.
Nick's review.
adaptation
Like paper.
for doing dips.
For tricep dips.
Yeah.
Yes. I did use your book as a demonstration for that.
I'm so glad that it can be part of your prop comedy.
Something, I don't know if this is where the writer's coming from, but that popped out to me was expectations. And that's something that has come up a lot in a lot of my sessions lately. I don't know what it is, something in the universe. But I feel like the expectation that you got this game and you want to kind of be transported back to childhood where time, space, how you feel when you sit for like 10 hours a day while you play a video game. Doesn't matter. And it's almost like the expectation is I'll feel great because when I was a kid, that felt really fucking fun. Like, it was awesome. So then as weeks passed and you're like, I'm doing this thing that's supposed to make me feel good because I've been excited about it and I love playing it and I feel good when I play it, is not translating into real life, where now I kind of feel like crap. And you know what did make me feel good? When I was freaking walking, and I don't want to have to go walk. I want to do the thing I think I want to do because my brain's telling me, play your video game. That's really fun.
Right.
But really, as we get older, you know, when you're a kid, you're running around all day, and then the time you have to play your video game is short-lived.
Right.
And it's kind of the same as an adult. Like,
That's a really good point. Yeah. So I mean, number one, it's just you're in a different place mentally and emotionally than you were then.
Yeah.
But then also there's a lot of stuff that your memory is not 100% accurate. You know, you may think or may remember playing video games all day, but in reality it was like, well, it was always interrupted because I had baseball practice.
Totally.
Or I had something else I had to go
or my
do.
parents just kicked me out and made me lock the door and like didn't let me back in.
Yeah.
No, just me? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just think those expectations, if it were me in your shoes, I would just imagine you'd be thinking, this is going to be so awesome.
Yeah.
And the reality is, you know, I'm not.
But that walk buys you the hours.
Yeah.
You know, you
Yes.
feel better now.
And you
not
like
depressed.
the walk. It's not even like you don't like the walk.
Yeah.
You're saying you like the walk. It's
It's
just
good once
getting
you go.
there.
A buddy of mine a few years ago called me up just out of the blue one day and said, he was like, I'm feeling really bad. I'm feeling just depressed every day. What's something I can do? And I was like, start taking a walk every day.
Hell yeah.
My answer to him was literally, start taking a walk. Like,
Life coach Jacob.
put aside an hour of your day every day and just take a fucking walk, and you'll just feel better.
30 minutes.
You kind of will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the sunshine helps, the vitamin D.
Yeah.
And doing things that just in general make you move more. So I found that when I'm in the office, because I need to go down to the lab to see how things are going, I'm up and down from my desk. But if I'm working from home, everything's remote, everything's right in front of my face, I'm not moving as much.
Right.
And then I decide to go and travel. So I'm putting on an extra 10,000 steps through airports.
Yes.
So
Yes.
just doing those things
Oh,
that
yeah.
make you move more without having to consciously think about,
Yeah.
I'm going to move
That's
more.
the thing.
If I'm feeling real shitty, if I can just do good work on a project for a while,
Right.
man, I'm feeling a lot better after that.
I miss physical private practice for that one reason, because you sit there for an hour.
Because of Olivia
but
Newton-John.
My
then
back
you
and
at
hips
least-
really hurt from virtual therapy.
Oh,
At
I
the end of the
know.
day, I'm like, if I do 5 or 6 sessions
Oh,
like
yeah.
that, I'm like,
You feel it because,
Yeah.
you get up at least to walk them to the front, say your goodbyes, gather the next person, come on back, you know, maybe visit the bathroom.
you're
But
standing up every hour
in
like your
virtual,
watch
if you're
buzzes
back
you
to
to
back,
make
it's
you
like
do.
I don't get out of the chair.
Yeah.
And there's been days where I sit down at 9 a.m. and I'll get up at 8 p.m. I have not left that
Oh,
chair
shit.
for that long. Yeah.
I can't do that.
You
I
gotta
gotta
get a
pee.
better chair.
I gotta pee.
No, I think that's a very good
what I'm
chair.
doing.
Your bladder is
You know,
not.
you just got to get an
not
empty
happy.
milk jug. You
You
gotta
need
keep
a
it-
worse chair
Men.
that makes you get up.
That's a man
What you
thing.
need is an empty milk jug and a penis.
Yeah, I was gonna say they have
just missing
those
something.
female things.
Yeah,
It's called a shiwi.
the camp
Yeah,
things.
yeah, the camp
No, we have
things.
one. Yeah, shiwi for
What?
camping trips. I have a daughter.
Okay.
She's got to go potty.
Oh, no, we have one for camping. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Sure.
a great, the shiwi. Sponsor the show, shiwi.
Shiwi.
Jesus.
Shiwi and Blanton.
We're just
Come on.
blowing out the free plugs here. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to discuss anxious attachment. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
This episode is brought to you by our Therapartners, Dirty B and Myra, and the rest of our Theraproducers. Thank you all so much. We will read names next week. And our second question, I'm sorry.
This is what you pay for, people.
I had, this is not, no, it's worth something.
That's fine. I'm going to keep trolling you. Go.
All right, second trivia, Myra.
Alrighty.
Let's hear it. Oh, by the way, if you want to sign up, go to patreon.com/therapy and sign up to become a Theraproducer.
Give us money.
By the way, I was still just reading
Therapartner.
other.
Or Therapart.
I was reading other reviews for Jim's book on Amazon.
Yes.
and I read one. I was like, "That's really funny," and I was like about to say it out loud, and I was like, "Oh, I'll credit the author of it." It was me.
I was like, it's not gonna be Jacob. It was.
And then you realize, oh, this is self-indulgent.
This guy's
It
hilarious.
doesn't say verified purchaser. It's because it was me.
Are we gonna hear the review?
I'm going to have to read
No,
it.
it was just, it was like
have
step
to
1,
go buy
read
the
the
book.
book, and step 3, profit or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. True or false?
Okay.
False.
Ooh, we have
Going all in.
50-50.
Black Elk Peak, formerly Harney Peak, in the Black Hills of South Dakota, is the highest elevation in the U.S. east of the Rocky
I
Mountains.
took false. Stand by it.
East of the Rocky Mountains. I'm saying
So there's
false.
nothing
Like the
higher
Smokies
I'm
are
gonna say
Yeah.
true.
between Black Elk Peak
Appalachians.
and the Pacific.
There's the Miami Mountains.
Oh. Or is this? Hold on. Hear me out.
Okay.
Is this one of those things because part of Alaska is on the other side of the international date line? So
okay.
technically, the
Yeah.
coast of Alaska is the easternmost point of the United States.
Oh, shit.
Is it one of
Also
those
going false.
things? I don't think it is because Myra's
think
sitting
it's-
here and not looking at me with any realization on her face at all.
I think it's true.
I'll say true.
I already went false.
I said false.
And I deserve extra
real
points
high.
for
I know
coming in
like
early.
there's some peaks in South Dakota that are up
I've
there.
never been.
It is true.
Damn it.
Yeah.
It is the highest point between the Rocky Mountains and the Swiss Alps.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
Okay.
Okay.
Not counting Alaska.
No Alaska.
That's not.
We will continue under
That's not a
protest.
thing.
Yeah,
And I can't
agree.
imagine those little islands are that tall either.
That's what I
Those
was kind of
Aleutians.
wondering.
I think there are just like some tall mountains on Alaska.
In Alaska,
But
yes,
I
but
don't-
not in the Aleutians.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Alrighty.
So Nick continues to win.
He's
True
dominating.
or false?
Game sucks.
Another easyish one. As of 2021, South Dakota has a population of just
here we
over
go.
1.2 million people.
True.
Just over.
I'm gonna say false.
That feels high.
I'm going to say true.
I should take the under-over on this one. That should be the bid. I'm going to go false, and I would like additional point for it being smaller than 1.2 million.
Well, that's
That's-
what false
that
means.
is
what
the
false
false.
means.
No, the false could also be bigger.
No.
She said 1.2 million.
Oh my
No.
god.
What was the question?
Just over 1.2 million.
Okay.
So it's not going to be false and it's 1.8 million.
It could be.
It's not.
Because the
I'm
question
telling
is
you
phrased
it's
that
not.
it's just over.
Myra, am I
does
correct
not
or not?
work that way.
Yes, it does. This is all rhetoric. I'm going false.
No, I'm true.
I'm going false, but I want to explain that my false is
No,
different.
we're the same. We are the same. We stand on the same side of
there's
the
a
line.
hard line
no,
right here.
You're with me.
So Jim and friends say false.
I think I said true.
All right.
All right.
Both
The answer
against
is
us.
false.
Yes.
It has a population of 895,376.
That's what I said. I told you it's going to be under, and you guys shit on me.
That's what
because
false
that's what
means.
false
You're
was.
all
Yes.
wrong. You're all dumb.
I was doing
my
the math
God.
because
How is your
like
false
Wyoming
different
is
than my
something like
false?
It's like arguing with a flat
750,000.
We have the
earther.
same false and the same logic for the
Okay.
same false.
You're right. You win.
So I
Thank
would like
you.
to say South
he
Dakota
has
has
surrendered
fewer
his
people than
points.
Glasgow.
Oh man. South
Because I
Dakota.
knew Wyoming is the least populous state in the U.S. and I knew that
Okay.
was like 700 something thousand.
Wow.
And so I was just going like, 1.2 million seems like the next logical step up.
Yeah.
But it was
It's
just
not.
it was a smaller step up than I was guessing.
Yeah.
People should
And
not
believe
have
it or
two
not,
senators.
Iowa had 3.193 million.
Oh.
Big city.
Where though?
That's why
Which-
Nick is so
Oh.
metropolitan.
Des Moines, Cedar Rapids. Those are the two biggest. Davenport.
The Davenport.
cities.
Isn't that a noun?
Quad cities.
You mean the Davenport Tangermans?
I know. I was like,
Yeah, it is.
I want to watch Quad City Vice. I feel like that show would kill.
Quad City has a good junior hockey league
Yeah.
team.
That's what I know about it. Is that all the trivias?
One more.
Yes.
So, which city is shared by the states of South Dakota, Iowa, and Nebraska?
Oh my God, that's a thing.
Twin
You can have a
cities.
city.
I'm just kidding.
You're probably right, but it'd be triplets.
It's which city is shared by all those states?
Springfield.
It sits right on the border of all three.
Can that possibly
I don't
be
know.
true? Between which places?
Read this. Yeah, I was like, read the states.
South Dakota, Iowa, and Nebraska.
Fuck. Kentucky.
Wyoming.
Yeah, that's probably right.
City.
I was like, it's a city. Are y'all saying they're
You
cities?
know what? I stand by my answer.
I continue to not know.
Oh man. Come on,
Nick,
Nick.
what is
You
it?
better know this.
Shit.
Yeah, it's probably
Okay.
like where you were born. Or
What are all the
some bullshit.
Iowa cities you
So
can
there's
think of?
Omaha,
bigger than where he's
Nebraska,
from.
Council Bluffs, and Sioux City, Iowa.
I want Okeechobee.
Sioux City. I'm picking that one.
Ooh, shit, she's right. It is going to be Sioux City.
I'm going Kansas City.
Oh shit.
I am going to go Sioux City.
I
Great.
want
I'll-
And Nick's
Okeechobee.
on fire, so
I'll
that means
also
I'm
go
right.
Sioux City.
I also would like Sioux City.
Sioux City is correct.
I finally got one.
God damn, I'm sick of all this
you
winning.
you guys worked so hard for that.
Yeah,
I was like, Nick, list the city.
job,
in
everybody.
different ways. Math is hard.
Omaha's the Nebraska side of
Right.
Council Bluffs.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
There
what I
you
was
go,
gonna say.
kids. The more you know. Anxious attachment. Hi, Pod Therapy. I've been listening to you guys since your last Reddit AMA.
Sorry.
Awesome.
Thank you. Having caught up with all the recent episodes, I'm slowly listening to your backlog and love your energy and feedback for each individual question. Also, Pod Therapy does not endorse listening to the backlog. You should not do that. Doing so is at your own risk. Now I have a question of my own. Recently, I became interested in someone who I met during a mutual hobby of ours. The interest was both ways. The interest was both ways. There it is. And built up fast before the intensity caused quite a few triggers and phases of overthinking in her. This made her pull back and mentally switch the button for romance off. We decided to keep seeing each other and remain intimate, something I of course wanted as my feelings had increased, and as she kept giving me signals there was something more than friendship. Sex, snuggling, kissing, hand caressing, while driving, etc. Of course, my hope of returning to a
I thought you were going to say hand stuff. I was very excited.
While driving.
Sex,
Still-
hand stuff.
Still very excited over there.
over the clothes. Of course, my hope of returning to a relationship-like state was kept high. At the same time, my anxiety kept increasing because everything was very unclear, and my fear of it stopping made me avoid talking about boundaries, expectations, what it means to need space, etc. I've always had a bit of difficulty with this, as these are vague words with no inherent value, hence why we should talk about it, but I didn't. Following a solo vacation where she pulled back more and a return of chronic illness she has, causing her to be paralyzed, waist down, and homebound for months, my fear of losing her got the best of me. I finally sent a message telling her how I felt. We can all guess how that went. We still talk as we have certain business plans for the future. It gave me a lot of reason to self-reflect, and I seem to have a pattern. When someone shows interest, I either don't notice or am flattered but pull back. When looking at previous relationships, I've always been into people I had the feeling I had to or could take care of, where there are issues and obstacles that should or could be overcome. All very dramatic, I know. This is never immediately apparent from the get-go, but turns up when we get to know each other. They become relations with a lot of highs and deep lows. And when people pull back, I start chasing because I fear they won't return. An hour feels like a day, and a day feels like a week. Not knowing when I get a response just makes me anxious. A source said this happens because of a lack of satisfaction in other parts of our lives, like work, hobbies, etc. And it's true, in both areas I feel like I'm in a bit of a rut, and have been for a long time. At the same time, I also have difficulty with initiating change. The annoying part is that the anxiety mentioned only happens in relationships, or with people I like, nowhere else. I also wonder if me not having had a normal relationship, where each party gives and receives as much, adds to the issue of not having a bar to hold things against. Now for my question. When I talked about this with my psychologist and asked for feedback about the anxious attachment issues I'm having, he could not give me specific feedback. He does not believe we can really change that, only manage slightly, which sort of took me aback. And
Wait, what?
So he's saying that the psychologist told him that, okay, so the psychologist, the writer said that they have anxious attachment issues.
Okay.
The therapist, psychologist said he didn't have specific feedback for that. The psychologist said, I don't think that's something you can change. I think that's something you learn to manage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the writer said, that took me aback and made me feel even worse, sad, and broken. So my question to you is, what in your opinion are ways to deal with this kind of anxiety in my life? Are there ways to deal with this fear of speaking up and standing up for myself? What about my fear of losing people? The undervaluing of my needs? Or why is there attraction in taking care of people, or people who can't or won't return the same energy? It's something I'd really want to work on to avoid what happened in the future. If you have any suggestions, please let me know. Keep up the good work. My pronouns are he and him. Thanks, Anonymous.
Boy, attachment theory.
Yeah, we don't get to talk enough about that.
I know. Right off the bat, I disagree with it not being changeable.
Okay.
Or just managing it, from what I've read at least.
I would suggest that it might be a language thing, like how it's being languaged.
Okay.
Because like changing something and managing something at some point are the same thing.
Valid.
I think, because I think it, you almost kind of are starting to split hairs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
that's
like
a
if
good
I
point.
have an alcohol use disorder diagnosis, but I manage the symptoms,
Right.
then it goes
Eventually you
into
don't.
remission. So is remission really different than not having it at all?
Yeah. So in that case, managing and changing,
Right.
same.
Right.
Yeah. And, based on attachment theory, those types of issues, like if you have anxious attachment disorder, come from how you sought care when you were young, essentially, from your parents. So if your parents were neglectful or abusive, or if you have a secure attachment and your parents were just there for you and you needed them, that'd be lovely, right?
Well, and I always think of there's this movie we always used to watch in treatment. And when we started talking about family dynamics and stuff, and the reason I really like this movie is because it illustrated family roles very well. And the dad was an alcoholic and he was kind of outside of the picture. Mom was an enabler and always trying to get dad back in the family. So then the kids were left to fend for themselves. And the oldest daughter was now the parent. And so she had to take care of the two younger kids. And so it kind of led to this discussion of okay, so let's say the older daughter grows up, she's an adult. What kind of person is she likely going to find an attraction towards? Well, it's probably going to be somebody that needs some sort of help
She needs to take care of.
Yeah, and it's because she has formed an identity. It's not a role that she plays to her. It's who she is. And so if she's in a relationship with somebody who's stable, now she doesn't have a role to play. And so now it's kind of an identity crisis. Who am I? So naturally, you're probably going to have that attraction towards that person.
Yeah, it's where your values been, and your parents probably praised you or were thank you for helping with your siblings and all of that.
That's
and
what's
now you're
familiar to you.
feels very comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah, John Bowlby is the theorist. So John Bowlby and attachment styles, which I think it doesn't get enough attention, but has recently made a pretty good resurgence with that book Attached. That was sort of an exploration of that again. And it's really written to a general audience. It's not for shrinks, but it's a really good book. And writer, I think that you would enjoy that book. It's very short, but it explores what we're all three talking about here, which is this concept of attachment styles. So Bowlby had his theory that basically there's 4 different types of attachment styles. And if you think about them on a grid or a graph, 2 of the attachment styles, you have a positive view of yourself. 2 of the attachment styles, you have a negative view of yourself. 2 of the attachment styles, you have a negative view of others. 2 of the attachment styles, you have a negative view of others. And they kind of crisscross between. So secure attachment is a positive view of self and a positive view of others, which means you don't feel distrustful of others. You generally feel safe in their presence. You generally have a positive view of yourself. You have some measure of confidence. And this allows you to connect to other people without feeling anxious, without pulling away from them, without feeling distrustful or fearful. Another attachment style, which you might be describing, is anxious attachment style. And that's whenever I have a negative view of myself, but a positive view of others, right? So I'm fearful that I'm not enough and I'm trying to win them, which might explain some of your dynamic here where you tend toward those who have some kind of what you might have described as a weakness or a vulnerability, something you can add value to. And that makes you think, okay, I can basically purchase my value, right? I don't have value inherently.
Yes, unless I'm doing something
I can earn
for
it,
them.
right? I can somehow win you. And that will make me feel safe in your presence because now you've become dependent on me. I do for you. And that's the only way that I'll feel safe in the relationship. So we tend toward people that have a deficit that we might find a way to fill because we feel that we're not enough. And then even when we're partnered, we're constantly needing reassurance, or this fear shows up that they're going to disappear anytime. They're going to wake up and realize I am nothing, and they're just going to walk away, and they're just not going to care at all. Another style is called avoidance style, and in an avoidance style, this is where we have a positive view of ourselves but a negative view of others. And so this is where we shut down, we walk away from other people. And one of the great ironies that the book talks about and Bowlby talks about is that anxious attachment and avoidant attachment tend to find each other. And so the anxiously attached person attaches to an avoidant person who shuts them down, ghosts them, walks away, and just doesn't add words whenever they're not feeling it. And then the anxious person's like, oh my God, I need reassurance, I need a signal. And like they're chasing this avoidant person away as the avoidant person's like walking away. And then the last quadrant is fearful attachment style. And fearful is negative view of self and negative view of others. And so like that's this sense of like, I want to fall in love, but I'm afraid they're going to abandon me. I'm just deeply distrustful. I don't feel like I'm enough. I don't think I trust other people to love me. And so round and round this whole thing goes where they kind of have a mix of both avoidant and anxious attachment styles.
Just love me, Jim.
Just love me, baby. Oh, I do, Jacob. So the point that your psychologist made where they said, hey, I don't know that this is something that changes. It might be something more you manage. It doesn't sound like they did a good job of explaining it, but Bowlby would have probably said something similar, because I think what Bowlby was saying is, as Whitney pointed out, we mostly consider these attachment styles to show up in childhood. And so if you're in your 20s and 30s, at this point, we kind of feel like that already happened. Like now you're exhibiting an attachment style. Learning that you do it, learning to then use therapeutic interventions to question your instinctual conclusions about yourself and the world around you, and then learning to manage that so you can participate in healthy relationships is kind of the goal. So Whitney's right. You can change it in a sense that you can bend it, right?
Yeah.
But you always are going to resist that, right? Like I have an anxious attachment style. Shock! Nobody? Everybody?
What?
So like I constantly will text Nick and be like, are you mad at me? Like, why aren't you replying? Are we cool? Like, who's Mark? And so, like,
Mark, I hope you're listening.
I played putt-putt. Is that enough? So, like that's constantly seeking reassurance, like fearing I'm not enough or whatever. And so, like, each one of these quadrants has their own pros and cons. But Ryder, I would encourage you to read that book. I'd encourage you to do more studies in this, because knowing what you are is really helpful, because then you, like Whitney said, you can learn how to troubleshoot your own like tendencies. And when you're starting to date again and you're looking for partners, you can catch yourself, right? Because you'll say like, oh, that person seems interesting. I feel safe approaching that. But you're like, stop, check in with yourself. Why? What is it about them that makes me feel like, oh, they have like a train wreck, kind of mentality or something about them that makes me feel safe approaching them?
Yeah.
I need to check in on that, because I might be going for people that are emotionally unavailable or don't have any love to give me.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to basically win.
Yeah, and asking your therapist about that. So what tools, if they're saying, oh, that's not something you can fix, it's just something you manage. Okay, well, how do I manage that?
Time to get to managing.
Yeah, help me.
I'd love to manage this.
Yeah.
Help me fix it.
Short of fixing it, I'd like to manage it.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear the relationship didn't work out, Anonymous.
Yeah.
And, I'm proud of you for taking that step, though, and being vulnerable and sharing how you felt, even if the other person kind of pulled away.
Yeah.
And, your former partner sounds like they have their own particular thing. I mean, I don't know that I would subscribe any particular style to them. It just sounds like they had their own misgivings and overthinkings and reasons, and sometimes that has nothing to do with you.
They got their own shit. Everybody got their own shit.
Everybody got their own shit. You've just been life coached.
Boom.
All right, so we have hit the end of the show. I want to remind you that you can go to patreon.com/therapy and get the extended show ad-free a day early, as well as enjoy our live chat Discord. Myra, what do you like about the Discord community?
Everything.
There it is.
We have a Discord? Neat.
You're in it.
Myra posted selfies to our Discord. We will
did.
also post pictures of the special gift, the one-of-a-kind gift that I gave to Myra, the Nick Tangeman air freshener.
It's pretty amazing.
Best
The
gift in
currently
the
one
world.
of a kind.
The
Currently
Baconator.
one of a kind, the bacon-scented Nick Tangeman mustache air freshener. That will also be up there. But the Discord's a lot of fun. You can jump in there for as little as $1. And then every Monday, we release new weekly deep dives, interviews, skill shares, research roundups, and rants. I am currently in the midst of a series on a book called Conscious Uncoupling, about how to end relationships without spite or anger. And Nick, you just posted one on Monday.
Did.
What was that one about?
What was that one about is the question
Probably
that
golf.
Jim is asking me.
Jesus.
Golf related in some way.
Oh, I remember.
There it is.
Process addictions and
Yeah.
chemical addictions.
Process addictions and chemical addictions. And there's a little bit of an update, a golf update in there as well. So,
Thank
so
God.
Checks
Jacob
out.
was not completely
Checks
wrong. Yeah.
It shows.
Always a safe bet.
Patreon.com.
Safest bet in Vegas.
We've got some new friends who have joined us at the Patreon that we want to welcome. Who the new Therapal, Nick?
Thank you to our new
Therapal.
Who that new Therapal?
Thank you to our new Therapal, Trontastic.
I like that name. And welcome to new Therapods, BP, Stephen Landon, and Mike V.
And we got a new Theraproducer, Hannah Marie.
Hannah Marie!
Thank you,
Marinky
Hannah.
dinky dink, Hannah Marinky doo. Did you ever watch that show?
As always,
Skidamarinky-dink.
I know, but I made it Hannah Marinky dinky dink.
Because you're
her name is
special.
we
Hannah
want
Marie.
to thank our Therapartners, Dirty B and Myra.
Thanks, Myra.
who's in the
Thanks,
studio.
Myra.
Thank you. Enjoy your air freshener.
Let me throw more money at you.
Please do. We do the money shower here.
I
if you're
believe
live in studio.
Myra was talking to me.
Oh, that's fine.
All the ones.
All the yeah, that's right. Make it rain.
Little darlings.
That's right. And we
It was the library.
Oh, the library. You're right. You're right.
Patreon.com/therapy. And we want to thank our bosses, the mysterious and shrouded Illuminati members of the fan club, those their producers. Thank you, Jake Schneider, Robert Brownie Jr., Mint, Smitty Scoop, Ben Don, Judy Schneider, Kayla Lansbury, Doctor, and Mr.
Keep forgetting to fix that.
Mr.
Hot
and
dog
Mrs.
Mr. and Mrs. Hot Dog
Nope,
Scoop.
my script says that. I read
She
what's written.
prefers Mrs.
Go fuck yourself, San Diego. Malia, Leon Kassab, Cindy Ash, Mason Miller, Richard Macy, Carolyn Albert. Didn't you guys hang out with Carolyn Albert? I saw that
did
on the
yesterday,
Instas.
yeah.
Oh, cool. Carolyn's visiting too.
Yeah, she came to help me celebrate my birthday.
Aw, fun times. Kevin Chamberlain, Tess Miller. Thank you for writing in, Tess. Sammy Scoop, Ben Stanley, Slapping Your Face, Sarah Smith, Adam Hathaway, Byler T, University Jeff, Mike Helm, Myra. This one.
Yeah, you don't need to take me. You need to take me off this one.
I was
Yeah, we just throw everybody in there.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah. Editing these things is hard.
Those 4 letters. It's tough.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of shit that I do on a day. Anyway, go on.
Harris, Samantha Cohn, Darren Cunningham, Lib, Team Monaco, Thunder, Cougar, Falcon, Scoop, Matt and Lisa Tangeman, Heyo, Oscar Swanrose, a Sunny Boy, Slippy Kaye, motherfucker, Sandra McWaffle, Dan Martin, and Hannah Marie. Also, Dan Martin bought my Disneyland ticket. Remember that one that I
yeah,
never
yeah.
saw?
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
after the last episode, Dan messaged me. He's like, hey, man, I'll buy that off. He was like, yay!
Right on.
Yeah,
Dan to the rescue.
I had no doubt that was going to be fine.
yeah, that worked out really good.
If you would like to hear this episode uncut and unedited
And why wouldn't you?
and enjoy our spontaneous side projects, go to patreon.com/therapy. And thank you for supporting mental health.
That's all the time that we got for this week's session. I want to thank our landlords, Matt Mattingly's Ice Cream Social podcast, and our Therapartner, Myra. Thanks. And thanks to
Dirty
those
B.
of you, and Dirty B, and who contributed to our show today. We really appreciate it. Remember, Pod Therapy isn't something you should keep all to yourself. Share the episode with someone who needs it. Tag us on the socials when you do. It's at PodTherapyGuys on X. Is it not Twitter anymore? It's just X.
I don't know.
Yeah, and
Oh,
Instagram.
yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
And /Pod Therapy on Facebook. Don't forget about the goodies at patreon.com/therapy.
Do you want to submit a question to the show? Of course you do. Ask anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. I'm Nick Tangeman.
I'm Whitney.
I'm Jim.
I'm Myra.
And that's Jacob.
Thanks.
And a
And we'll see you for your
partridge
appointment
in a pear
next
tree.
week.
Can we set fire to the Hawaiian snacks? I feel like it'd be
I've
wonderful.
snuck them in your car. Those are going in there to rot.
We got some trivia.
There's more
We got
trivia.
One last
We
set
got
of
one
trivia.
more?
3
Good.
more questions.
This is where I redeem myself.
Let's do it.
I'm
No,
making a
this is not where
comeback.
you redeem yourself.